Okay, so I'm back. I'm ready to work on the JNCIE-SP again. Um, got some really good news. In the past, I'd been using let me think here. I've been using Microsoft Paint to sketch out things, but I've got some really good news. I've had this Samsung Galaxy Tab A for like years and years, and I have a stylus on it, so it serves basically just as a sketch pad, and I found this really awesome site, Sketch Together. Looks like it's having issues, but I think if I just go back to the initial page I was on, click Sketch Now, yep, now I get a URL. So, so what I can do is for an hour I get, and I probably get more time if I actually sign up, but I can enter that URL. I just have to enter the last part of it. Okay, and now that I entered that URL, really nice and easy, just takes a few seconds, I can simply just draw here, and all of my sketching will just show up right on the screen, and that'll make it really nice and easy to explain stuff. And I get all of the full functionality on my tab A that I used to use a lot for sketching and ideas and stuff. So I get to express myself on these videos through my own hand instead of through a mouse and MS Paint. So really, really good news. And then by the time I post this public, this will expire. These only last for 1 hour. Okay, so that is really, really good news. It's always nice to start these videos off on a high note. Let's move on to continuing to work on the last exercise that I looked at last time. So I changed my repo over to my Google account for this channel. And then I made it so that anyone can view the repo in case anyone wants to see the documentation I decided to use. So last video I was working on Interprovider VPN. There's a whole lab that is baked into the device if you do help apropos. So I was working my way through that lab. I don't think I was having any issues. I think I just ran out of time. So let's pick up where I left off. Okay, so router C, we're gonna have, router C is where I left off. I finished configuring that completely, I believe. I'll double check it. Clearly I did not yet configure it to router B. What does this keep all mean? I've never seen keep all. Okay, so how to retain routes in the routing table. Yeah, I've never seen that keep all before. That's interesting. Yeah, unfortunately I am kind of just a monkey at a typewriter right now, really not understanding what I am entering in and why, but exposure I think is the first step, which it's kind of a little bit late to be making first steps, but as I've said many times before, this is a very, very difficult exam that a very small percentage of people end up passing, so it's really nothing to be ashamed of if I do end up failing, and there's a lot to learn about my processes that might help me pass next time if I choose. So what I'm trying to do right now is determine what kind of wiring is required. So we know that this is going to serve, this is to router B, and it looks like this is just a internal router, so it doesn't get VPN configuration on it. That is, unless I didn't finish that yet. Let's check the help doc and see if I finished it. Okay, so in the BGP protocol configuration for router C, include the keep all statement. When this statement is included, BGP must store every route learned through BGP. Configure 2 BGP sessions. I'm trying to think of which routes it wouldn't store if you didn't have that there. I guess I can't really think of anything. Configure 2 BGP sessions. Configure family INET VPN on both sessions. Sorry, I haven't eaten anything yet. I'm really hungry. Ibgp sessions to router B, route 2-ibgp in this example. Ibgp session to router D. Okay, so it's an Ibgp session to router B, even though they're directly connected. I guess I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure what's. Okay, so let's do a show configuration, type display set, pipe no more. So we do have two interfaces. Only one of them is added to RSVP for some reason. I think there's an error with the config that is given here, so we'll need to do some fun troubleshooting to figure that out. Oops, and there's a tank rolling past my apartment for some reason, so I'm just gonna put on these. Not an actual tank. I guess I gotta specify nowadays in the United States. But yeah, these will just help me focus better. So let's see if I can plug this in properly. And the good thing about a P router or a T router is it technically won't matter which port I plug in, because they're going to be configured the same on both sides. The ports don't have special functions. They're just meant to transport the traffic. Unlike for a PE router where the ports do have special functions. One is to receive customer traffic and put it on a VPN and send it through the internal network. The other one is just to send it through. So the first port facing the CE is meant to look at, is meant to place that customer traffic into a VPN. The second port is meant to just transport it through the network. So that second port is going to be configured the same way as both of those transit ports on the transit router. Different IP addressing, different description, all that sort of stuff, but in general it's the same. But on a PE you do have two different kinds of ports. On a P router you've only got that second kind of port that's on the PE. Okay, so we've got router C configured already. We just need to figure out how to hook it up to router B. Let's take a look at router B quick. Okay, so it's going to, I'll just cable it 0 to 0. If there's a cabling issue, Hopefully we'll find that during troubleshooting. Okay, but cabling issue is definitely not going to be the main issue. There's just a lot of, I think this configuration that was given unfortunately does not show the whole story, but hopefully it gets us close enough so that we can fill in the gaps. Okay, so let's get the configuration for router D. Oops, so it looks like I'm still on router C. This is going to be the configuration meant for router D. Okay, and it looks like we got the same deal as we got with router C, where unfortunately the example is incorrect. It's having the wrong interfaces added to the wrong protocols. But I think it's actually going to be a lot easier. I think it's going to be an easy thing to correct, because I think the only problem is that the second interface shown here, SO010, is missing from these other ones, from OSPF and RSVP. I think that's the only correction that needs to be made. Oops, let's do a show pipe compare, and then a commit and quit. Okay, so I am configuring it right now exactly how it's shown in the example. So there are going to be some issues. There's the first one. They did not define a local autonomous system. Clearly they didn't define any IP addressing either, and they left off the interface, the second interface from RSVP and OSPF. So I will need to eventually correct that. Now I think my only goal is just to get a partial config to commit, and then go back and try to fix it. So, and that's good exercise too, because from what I understand, there will be a section of the test devoted to exactly that, going back and fixing a problematic configuration. So let's see here. We've got to do the autonomous system. I believe it's going to be 21. So here's the PRIS. It could actually be, I think it's going to be the same local autonomous system as router C, actually. So let's look up what that is. And it might be 10045, just off the top of my head, but I will check. Oh, so it looks like it's 10023. Now the thing with that though is we know that it's not going to be 10023 on router D, because router D is forming an Ibgp connection with 10023. So if router D were 10023, this connection would be an Ibgp connection, not an Ebgp connection. So clearly it's got a different AS than this, but I don't know what AS it does have. So it's going to have a label switch path to E, so it's going to share a autonomous system with E, I believe. Okay, so let's look up E and see what autonomous system it belongs to. Okay, so this is E. It's going to be the final one that gets configured. It'd be nice if I could get like a route distinguisher. Aha, I got it. So this is going to belong to AS 11. Now I do notice something kind of odd. There is a pure AS statement here that matches the AS statement here. That I wasn't expecting. So the question is, okay, the question is, of course, what is the routing option autonomous system that is meant for router D? So the answer, I believe, is it's going to be the same autonomous system that's on the other side of that LSP. So that will be router E. That's what's on the other side of LSP. Oh, so it looks like router E is going to have a very similar configuration to router B. Let's look at the routing options for router B, because it looks like it will have the same autonomous system as router E, and then we know router E has the same autonomous system as router D. Okay, so yeah, it's got kind of a strange autonomous system. And unfortunately, we can't use that because otherwise we wouldn't be able to form a Ebgp connection. So let's just go with 11 for now, and this will be a part of troubleshooting. That's kind of what I'm aiming to do anyways is to be able to troubleshoot problematic topologies, so getting it right the first time isn't necessarily important in this case. On the test day it will be, but well, actually even on test day it's not going to be important because I'm not the person doing it the first time. So in fact it's important that they don't get it right on the first time, otherwise I'll get to the topology and I'll have to say there's nothing wrong with it. Oh, I did show. Let's do set. Show pipe compare. Okay, everything is good to go. Commit and quit. Okay, so yeah, that looks good. One thing I did forget to do is change the hostname. Okay, so time to move on to router E. Let's get the config from the help apropos and then apply it. Still got plenty of time. Okay, so this is going to be router ABCDE. Oops, so it's going to be router F. So this is actually not in alphabetical order. So this is going to be router E. It's going to be the one with more similar configuration to router B. Yeah, so this is going to be a P. I can see it kind of coming into place now. This is going to be the PE router. This is going to be the PE router. Now this is an interprovider router, so we're going to have probably these two routers be from a different ISP, and then these two routers from the first ISP, and then yeah, so yeah, it's going to be kind of like the carrier of carrier topology, fewer routers thankfully. So let's get working on router E. Okay, so first step, I'm going to be changing the hostname. Next step will be protocols RSVP, and it looks like they similarly made an error. oops, this is going to be a VRF L3 VPN. The other option is virtual router, but we're going to go with VRF. Okay, so actually it looks like since this is serving as a PE, the error they made is not that they forgot to add the second interface here. They accidentally added it to the default MPLS instance. That's going to be the error in this case. So it looks like I misspelled the policy here. So I'm not sure what this is referring to exactly. Let's do a show pipe display set pipe match. Okay, so here it is. Let's fix that, if I may. Oh, I'm already in configure mode, so let's go Reddit. Reddit. Let's go edit instances VPNA. And then we'll do delete VRF import VPNA iPort and set VRF import VPNA import. Show pipe display, if I may, set relative. Alright, that looks a lot better. Okay, so now oops, aha, so here's that error since they added the second interface here. It can't be both in a routing instance that is custom, in this case VPNA, you can see we've added it there, and in a default routing instance. So you got to add it to one or the other. So let's remove it from the default routing instance. Okay, so now hopefully, oh, we might, yep, so we're missing the local autonomous system as well. Let's use 11 because that's what the route distinguisher is using. But we might need to troubleshoot that and figure out what it is meant to be for realsies. Okay, I don't think there'll be any more errors after this, and I do think that router F will have a lot less config because it's a PE router. Those typically don't have as much config, or sorry, because it's a CE router. Those don't typically have as much config as the PE routers. The PE routers typically have the most amount of config. Okay, so I believe it was GE001. That was, yeah, so we're gonna plug that into 0. And then we're going to go 1 to 0, perfect. and now we're going to configure router 6. It's going to be hostname router F. Perfect. Commit. Oops, let's do the graphic beforehand, just so the tab is a little bit more clear. Okay, so next step is going to be getting the config. Alright, so nice and easy config for router F, since this is a CE router. So I'm going to reopen this just so that the tab is named router F. Okay, and then let's get this done ASAP. Okay, so good news here. We know the AS, oops, actually this is the AS for the peer. So I guess that's good news because we've got the AS for here. I believe I set that incorrectly. I think the AS here is going to be 11. Now, it is going to match router A, so let's see if router A is set to 11. Okay, router A is set to 9. Let's set it to 9. Okay, hopefully it will commit. Okay, and then we know that router E, if I take a look at the active configuration, router E is going to be 10045. Okay, so now that everything is configured, we can leave the help doc out of it and then go through and troubleshoot everything ourselves and make sure that it works. There weren't even any help steps or anything like that included, or verification steps. Oops, actually I'm going to make, yeah, I'll make this second one. I think I will, well, no, I remember uploading it. So yeah, we're gonna start by verifying, because it's a interprovider, sorry, yeah, it's an interprovider topology. So these are gonna be the same autonomous systems. Let's start with verifying that. Okay, so that's set to Autonomous System 9. Let's see what this is set to. Autonomous System 9, perfect. So now these two are going to be in the same autonomous systems. Let's verify that. Okay, so this is 10023. Let's see what this is set to. Okay, so this is set to 10045. Now, it could be that the topology is not meant to be A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, E to F. But I can verify that because at the header of all of the help docs, they do specify how the topology is meant to be configured. So let's look at that. Okay, so I think it's pretty clear that A is meant to go to B. Let's just verify that. Yep. Yep, A is meant to go to B. So is B meant to go to C? Okay, so it looks like router A is configured as a CE router using the routing instances statement. In the configuration for router B, because they exchange VPN IPv4 routes, router D and router C are configured as PE routers. Okay, so router B is a PE router, but router C and router D are PE routers as well. They're PE routers for a different ISP. Because this is an interprovider, we've got two providers, just like the carrier of carriers scenario. So B and E are going to require the same autonomous system. Right now they have different autonomous systems, and I'm not sure which one is correct. Okay. All right, let's just open them all. Oops, and for some reason they're not all opening, only R0 is opening. Or sorry, RA. Be nice if they could all open. Okay, we got 3 of them to open. What if I select them all and then hit that open all? Okay, so if I do that, it looks like only 3 of them open still. I guess I'll just open them one at a time. I do want them all to be open. Okay, I'm not sure what the holdup is right now. Oops, and it looks like I don't know why I'm the wrong, let me refresh here. Okay, it's still pink, so we're good to go there. Um, oh man, why am I having, okay, I understand. I'm trying to figure out what the um, appropriate autonomous systems are. I want to get that right before moving on to anything else. So we have a Ibgp statement, and we've got a PRAS here, 10023. So the autonomous system here is technically correct. It's correct at least in when it comes to forming that Ibgp neighborship, but it might not be correct as far as what it needs to be to interoperate with router E. Okay, so it looks like we've got autonomous system 1123 set up here, and then we've got a eBGP neighborship set up here to autonomous system 1145, or sorry, 10045. Don't know why I keep saying 1145. Maybe it's just easier to say. Okay, but we've got autonomous system 11 used here. I don't think that's going to be right. In fact, in order for that eBGP connection to form, it's got to be 1145. So let's fix that. Sorry, not 1145. 10045. Okay, and then this one can be just about anything, I think. Let's see what it is now. So this is 10045. So here we have 10023, 10023, 10045, 10045. So I think that looks correct to me. It's not quite what I expected. I would have expected it to be autonomous system A here, autonomous system B here, autonomous system C here, and then autonomous system C, B, A, like that. But instead it's autonomous system A here, autonomous system B here, autonomous system B here again, then autonomous system C here, autonomous system C here again, and autonomous system A. I am surprised it's like that. And this is why I question if the topology is A to B, B to C, etc. Okay, so we're going to need to get IP addressing on the ports. Let's work on that next. Okay, so I won't need family MPLS on this one. So this looks like it's pretty much good to go. Let's check router B. And if router B is good, then we won't need router A open anymore. Okay, so we've got a description here that says it's core facing. That's not configured yet, but the description that says customer facing, that one is ready to go. So we can close router A and work on the core facing link. Okay, so another thing we've got is we've got a Ibgp neighbor statement here. We've also got a local address. So I think that's going to be a loopback address. So let's set it up as such. Perfect. Okay, so then yeah, so on router C, we're gonna have a loopback address as well, but it's going to be 171 instead of 175. So let's just skip over to router C right now and set that up. Oops, I only need one tab open to router C. Set interfaces L00, family INET address. Okay, 171 is correct. It's going to be 175 for router B. Perfect. Okay, so yep, I'm going to commit that. And before we're moving on, let's check the Ibgp connection to router A. It's going to be important that that is up before moving on to configuring router C. So that's one thing I forgot to check. I'll go back and check that. Show BGP summary. Yep, so we've got an established connection to yep, to the CE, and it's established via VPN as well. Okay, so next step is going to be to configure a connection, is to have this go active. So now, from what I can see, we've got IP addressing listed for the loopbacks on each of these. We've also got IP addressing listed for the physical interfaces of the link between the CE and the PE. That is given by the neighbor statement for Ibgp, because the best practice is to form that to physical interfaces. But we don't have any way of knowing what the IP address would be for this internal link. So let's just make one up. It doesn't matter, and it's not given anyway. It's ours to decide. So I'll just go with 10.0.1.0. Oops, and it's going to be .1 on this side, .2 on the other. And then we will need family MPLS on this internal link. Okay, so yep, we're good to go. I believe it's already added to the default instance protocols. So yep, everything is good to go there. Let's configure the other side on router C. And it's going to be G0. All right, and now we should have the one that's inactive hopefully eventually go over and move over to established. Hopefully. Maybe it needs more than... I thought that was going to be enough for it to go to established. Just keep an eye on this. and then go back to router B and see if a configuration change is required. Okay, so we've now got an IP address on 000. I might have left off family MPLS on this side. Let's take a look at that. These little things like this, I think, are what cause people to pass or fail. If you get stuck on something easy and simple like this, like, you're just going to lose a lot of points for it, and they're huge time sinks too. So I'm really happy with this exercise because it's allowing me practice for finding like the little things that go wrong. Okay, so yep, that's all it required. It is now established. Alright, so we're not going to need router B anymore since it's configured. Let's troubleshoot the connection between router C and router D, which I believe is an Ibgp connection. So we'll have the IP addressing given to us. So, yep, we've got a neighbor connection here. We've got the pure AS there. So let's see if this is configured. Okay, so let's see if that is configured. It's going to be configured on GE000. Okay, and we've got a .22 here, so we're not going to be able to, so we can still use a /30. The subnet address, though, is going to be .20. Yeah, so anytime a number is divisible by 4, it is a valid /30 subnet address. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. No remainder, so it is valid to use a /30, and then the other side is going to be a .21/30. Okay, so let's see if the Ibgp connection is up now. The Ibgp connection is still active, but it used to be idle. So that's a really good, yep, so open confirm. Once it's in open confirm, typically it's on its way to, like, there's no way it won't go into established. Okay, so yep, we're established now, so we can work on the connection between router D and router E. So I'm very rapidly running out of time. I don't think I have a 1 o'clock meeting, I'm actually not sure, but let's just work on router E, get an IP subnet configured for that connection, and then end there. So it looks like we've got GE000. I don't think that's going to need, well, actually, yeah, I think that is going to need family MPLS. I'm actually not sure about that. We'll find out later in the next video. But for now, we've got a BGP connection. We've got, should have a local address. No, I don't see a local address or anything like that. We've got an IGP neighbor, we've got a Ibgp neighbor, but that's to the other side. So I think this is another one where we can come up with our own IP address. Okay, so let's go with 10.0.2 .1/30, and we'll use .2.2 on the other side, and then that's going to be it. I'm running out of time, so I'll need to move on. But that will be a really good head start for the next video, because just trying to infer which addresses are needed can take a lot of mental power. Okay, so I configured that on JNCIE-001, so this one is going to be required on 000. Okay, and it's going to be .2/30. Alright, so yep, that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one where I do more of this kind of troubleshooting. And then by the end I should be able to have loopbacks on the Cs and be able to ping end to end. Alright, so thanks for watching. See you in the next one.